Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with Matt, Adam, Brian, Doug, and Freddie, where they discuss everything that matters in today's fire service. Now let's get to the show.
We don't want to lose the ADHD crowd.
Listen,
Right.
everything I tell my podcasters, 30 to 45 minutes, 750 to 1,000 words. Anything past that, you're going to lose human beings.
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome in episode 99 of the Cool Fireman Podcast. A little light today, just me and Unky. I wouldn't say light with him around, but whatever. He's a thick man with two C's. But anyway, we've got Miss Stephanie White on today to talk about a current topic in the fire service. It's a little underreported, I think, at the time, but I think it's going to be applicable to a whole lot of people, not just for the fire service, but the fire service direct families that are affected by it also. And that's going to be ADHD and how we manage it in the fire service. So without further ado, Miss Stephanie, would you like to introduce who you are, what you do, and say as little or as much as you want about who you are, what you do, and what you stand for?
Well, I really thought you were actually pausing to remember what it was we were talking about when you did that little, just going to put the forewarning up front. You and I talked this morning about what we're going to talk about. So I decided to give you the full experience, and I took 0 Adderall today. So this is really going to be a fun episode. We get the full shebang. As you already said, my name is Stephanie White. I work probably, 2 hours away from you at a department right outside of Washington, D.C., fairly large department. I am a writer, a podcaster. I'm the managing editor of Fire Engineering's new little baby, Firefighter Nation. And then in the state of Virginia, I'm the peer coordinator. That affects you. And that's actually how this whole topic came about. Was I was actually talking to our peer coordinator about ADHD one day. And I said, hey, why don't you write something about it? And that's why we're here today.
That's awesome. I didn't know you were the state coordinator. That's great. That's awesome. Well, let me get through a little housekeeping, and then we'll dive into this thing and let you just take it and run. So,
is this showing us where the exits are? Because that's not going to work.
No, we're not. This is not instructor one. No, ma'am. We just want to do a little housekeeping about our sponsors. Thank you to Mr. Unky right there. But he's on the right side of my screen. But big sponsor of the podcast. There's a new product, Salty Fireman Hickory Smoked Salt. My wife used it today, actually, and said she thoroughly enjoyed it, Unky. And big shout out to Tom at the Burn Box and the FD Collectors Club. You guys go support him and check it out. Box just came in the mail a couple of days ago. Got some tube webbing in that thing this week, or this month rather, Carabiner, St. Patrick's Day shirt, some other cool stuff, stickers as usual. And last but not least, we like to always do a little 5 or 6 second moment of silence for anybody we may have lost over the past week or so since we last did one. So if you guys don't mind, please oblige. Thank you. Well said. So now, with all the housekeeping stuff done, we know where the bathrooms and the snack machines and all that are. My pantry is right outside this door, as a matter of fact. I just ate a sleeve of Ritz, and I had some Reese's Pieces. So, yeah. Stephanie, take over.
That sounds like the most ADHD lunch possible.
I am undiagnosed, but I've always told my wife I feel like I do.
I think it's a given if you're in the fire service. I mean, why else could we be so absolutely focused on seeing and then go back into the kitchen and just be able to cause so much chaos and rumpa-ronkus and not remember absolute crap about anything?
Yeah.
It's actually in it.
Yep.
If you think about it, it makes sense from a mental health standpoint because we have that whole object permanence, right? If it's not right in front of us, we forget it. It's probably how we survive, so that's a huge part of why we're drawn to this job.
So tell me about this article you said you read, or you just mentioned about someone at Fire Engineering you talked to it about.
Yeah, so our state coordinator for Virginia, our state clinician is an amazing, amazing human being named Beth Flaherty. She's our clinician. And we were just talking one day, and I think I had just had a day probably where I couldn't remember crap that I had to do on my to-do list. And I said, listen, I need you to write an article about surviving ADHD in the fire service. So she did. And she talked about some really great stuff in there. And I'll send you the article so you can like it. But it was absolutely crazy once I put it up in my social media, just seeing the reactions it got and how many people were talking about it, but sharing their struggles. And then in my work email, I started to get emails from officers who didn't have it saying, listen, I have an employee, they've got ADHD and they don't remember anything and this and that. And I was so surprised. So I really did a deep dive on it and saw how just little we talk about it. We joke about it every day at the kitchen table.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we all know we have it. It's probably why Unky wears the sunglasses so people can see that he's looking every direction but not paying attention, right? We've all got it. So why isn't it something that we discuss? Because we have such a weird job. Like, we would want to know some hacks for something like that, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. When we sit at the kitchen table, we all talk and joke about it. Yet it doesn't hit home that the fire officer, for instance, who knows of an employee that takes Adderall. Like there's a guy on my crew that takes it, and if he had never told me that, I wouldn't have known because obviously he's medicated for it. But we joke about those people of the squirrel that can't focus on a task, and in a very task oriented line of work that we're in. Like if you lose focus of certain tasks, like it's dangerous. So it's is it underreported or are we is it a taboo thing? What is the issue with not talking about it to you?
I think a big part of it's taboo, but that it's so overdiagnosed that we all kind of make fun of it. And I don't mean in a stigma way. We don't think it actually means anything other than squirrel, not being able to pay attention. And we don't realize how much it affects the chaos in our life. One thing that I absolutely love that Beth talked about in her article was how it affects our addiction. Think about it. For those in your life, those firemen who truly have it, we do things for that dopamine hit, right? So ADHD, you have a big lack of dopamine. So that explains why it is so many of us who are big word, 5 o'clock at night, neurodivergent, who are drawn to the job. Is that why we're so easily inclined to drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that why we're so easily inclined to sports betting? That's the new big thing in the firehouses, right?
Yes, Jesus Christ, yes.
Which is fine
Damn, I feel so
if
attacked right now.
maintained, if we maintain it to a certain degree. But you see a lot of these guys who maybe aren't and finding new ways to get themselves in trouble. We have these addictive personalities, and we know that, and we say that. Okay, well, here's a big possibility of why we have these addictive personalities. And it can give us that tool to kind of know, hey, if these specific things are going on in my day, I'm more likely to do addictive things, right? So knowing that and talking about that, I think has brought so much more control to my day than freaking taking legal meth ever has.
Legal man.
And I say that as somebody who needs their legal meth on days when I have to adult and sit in front of a computer, but it's nice being able to know the workarounds. And that's something that nobody has ever established for us as firemen because we don't sleep, we don't eat right, we eat late at night, we don't control our sugar, our insulin, we spike things up, we send them down. We're just a complete world of chaos. We'll combine that with squirrel brain. You really have some recipes for disasters. Just to take it one new conspiracy theory step forward. So you guys have heard that suicide is time cyclic, right? That's something that also very much applies to the ADHD world, right? We get really, really spun up about something and it's hard to break us out of a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's something they've really discovered about suicide is, listen, that's something that happens very spur of the moment often. And if you can elongate a time period of distracting somebody, essentially, finding a way to give them a game plan, then you're gonna possibly most likely break them out of that cycle. So we're kind of seeing ways as we talk about it amongst ourselves of where these two avenues of mental health and suicide behavior and addiction are kind of going hand in hand with the good old ADHD.
So you're telling me that monsters and Zen are not the answer to all of our problems?
Listen, Your little buddy Billy would feel very called out right now. I think that's the Chesterfield way of life. I had never dealt with Zen until I got married to my better half and started finding these tiny little bags in the laundry and going, "What the hell is this? Why is half my budget going to Red Bull cans?"
Yeah, why do I have all
So
these cans and pouches around the house? So is part of this problem because Adderall is a drug of abuse for a certain demographics of people? And wasn't it a big college thing for a while where kids were abusing it for research purposes? And I don't mean drug research. I mean like just
I
to
gotta stay up all
and-
night and take a test.
no,
Yeah.
I gotta stay up all night. I don't know if that's so much a problem with it. You mean in terms of why people won't get on it,
Yeah.
or
Yeah, because it's again the taboo of like you said, it's legal meth. And I know you're being facetious, but if it's yes and
no,
no.
it really is.
Yeah,
I'm on a new
speed.
kind, and all it says on the box is it's different than Adderall. It's just straight amphetamine.
So I look at it like this: like this guy at work, we talk about it, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe my wife and I talk about it. Maybe we should go get. I don't know how you test for it, but obviously a QHMP does something to work through it with you. But I'm like, I always imagine if I take Adderall, I'm going to turn into Bradley Cooper in Limitless, and I'm going to be like, "Pew!" And like that's what I think of Adderall
For an hour,
right? For like
just for 1 hour.
for like a spurt of like long as my Zen lasts, and then I got to do another one,
I'll tell you this, the first time I took it, because I only started it this past October, I took a quarter dose because I didn't want to give myself a freaking heart attack. And I literally sat there and stared at a wall, and it is the most bored I've ever been. I didn't realize that normal people don't have that constant just spiral of conversations going on in their head. And I feel bad for them. It was the most boring hour of my life. So I don't necessarily think everyone needs to be on it.
Yeah, I take what was the Vyvanse version of it because Adderall past couple of years was because of the pandemic. They're still trying to catch up with it. Adderall, at least in my area, it comes and goes. The demand for it, so they're not always in stock. So they put me on Vyvanse. But yeah, see right here already. I'm like, I forgot where I was going with this. You're feeding my ADHD. Yes.
Did you not take the Vyvanse today? Is that what
Oh,
you're
I
telling
did.
me?
I did, but
You've got that 3-hour window probably.
I don't know what my window is, but
so what does this
in my
mean
day.
for both of you? I mean, if you're obviously both diagnosed with it, so what's going through your head when you do or don't take it? Do you feel like you can't focus and there's just 9 thoughts at one time? You start one task, you stop it because I remembered this, and you go to that task.
For me, I just dive in, whatever suits my fancy, catches my attention. I just really dive into it, and it helps me focus. If I got a project, if I don't have it, it's like that's you say spiraling. It's a lot of conversations that you're having in your head, thoughts for me, and I just feel like my wheels are spinning. I'm getting no traction,
no production.
Yeah. So when I do take it, at least I get some traction. But sometimes I'm over focused, or like, wow, I'm doing project 1 and 2, but I really need to be doing 5 and 6 right now. That's more important. I'm like, yeah, this kind of suits my fancy a little bit right now. I'm all over the place. Any other day.
If I take it, I'll be able to focus. What I've discovered with mine is I only take a half dose because, and Anki, I don't know if you get the same effect because yours works differently than mine. But I take it right up to the point where I call it I can remember. So I'm focused and I can remember if I get off track, but I still like to hear those little thoughts and ideas, and I can keep the car in between the lines. And if I start to veer off, I can take it back, but I can remember what the trees back here looked like. if that makes any sense.
That was
It's
where
very, very spur of the moment ADHD
that was
analogy.
my follow up to what Unky was saying. I was like, do you feel like that for you, Unky? Do you feel like that's a dosing thing? And are you, I don't want to say overdosed, but is it like Stephanie says, she's only taking a half because she feels personally like it doesn't, she can still go both ways with that.
I want the creative thoughts to still be able to
Right. You don't want to
sneak up
get
on me.
you don't want to
Yeah.
get zombied and
Numbed out.
and hyper focused on one thing. You still need to be able to see the broad spectrum. And
I mean, my dosage is 40 milligrams. I mean, I don't know all those numbers.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
And everything. Basically, the doctor said, "Hey, you
Try this.
Yeah, you need to take this." I was like, I told you. And I mean, I don't know. I still have creative thoughts and stuff like that, but I'll just dive into a project. If I got a creative thought, that's all I want to do right now. I focus that, and is to me, and a lot of people that are affected by it, is more than just focusing. It deals with depression, memory, and all that stuff. So it's, the medicine's for your attention span, but it does so much else because there's a lot of other symptoms that you have. I can't recall them all.
So, Unky, here's a question for you.
Okay.
You brought up mental health, which is kind of, we're circling back. Do you feel like it has made a big change on your mental health? Because it's really disheartening when you go to bed at the end of the day and you feel like you've accomplished nothing, because we all need those little dopamine wins in our day of, even if it's just something as simple as making your bed and putting away the dishes and accomplishing whatever was on your to-do list. It might look incredibly small to some people, but to us, especially who are very task-oriented as firefighters, when we're off duty, because I don't so much use it on duty, because running calls, I mean, we all hyper focus. We do really well under stress. That's a superpower of ours. But when we're off duty and we feel like slobs because we can't accomplish one or two things, it does spiral you down to this weird little mental place, right? And then if you're living 4 days in a row at home on a 4-day break, I'm not sure how your schedule works. If it's 4 days and you accomplish nothing, and then you have 1 day where you go get your ass kicked and you get no sleep, I mean, you're just setting up this weird atmosphere of life where you feel like a failure without thinking the word failure. You just feel like you're drifting, I think is the better way to put it.
How many lists do you have? How many are on your phone? There's how many
feel attacked.
how many digital ones or how many handwritten ones you have? Because I have 4 handwritten ones. I have it planned, like I have a list of,
and I'm not medicated,
just general stuff that needs to get done. Then I have, when I'm at work, what can I do? Then, like, I'm wrapping up a 4-day break. I have it down, another list of when I'm on break. This, Sunday, I even put up there what the temperature is going to be, because I don't watch the news hardly at all. So I have to write that down. Because I don't want to schedule nothing that I need to go do something and it's raining outside, But I have a list, and I'm all about.
And you don't use any of them though, do you?
Most of the time, 75% of the time, I do not. 75%. But then there's the other days that I walk around with it in my pocket, because like today's like end of my 4-day break. If I'm not feeling accomplished of getting things done, I'll walk around with that list in my hand, and until I get things done. And grocery store list is a whole other thing. But yeah, I have to get things accomplished, or I can't sleep at night. I'll have to drug myself with melatonin.
Then you think about it all night.
Exactly.
All night long. Here's how I failed during the day.
Yes, and I've been the past year really explaining that to my wife.
Kicks the depression cycle in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So, Doug, I have this amazing app. It's called Billy Hucks. I tell my husband I have to do this, and then he goes and he writes it down and he reminds me, and that's been game changing on days because I don't want to take it every day. Unky's yours, so his medication metabolically turns into meth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit gentler on
Yeah.
your system versus just straight speedball in your
Well, I drink
hateful meth
like
in the
6 to
morning.
8 ghosts a day, so that kind of backs it up.
That's real good for him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So you brought it up just a second ago, or you mentioned it rather, about you don't take it on duty, and that was going to be my next segue. Was how do we govern it as far as on or off duty, or is do we just it's individual based and how it affects that person? One, like you said with Unky just now, the medication itself could uptake differently, different types uptake differently, and process differently metabolically. How do we? Does it have to be a case by case basis?
It's a case by case basis. I mean, Unky can jump in with this one. For me, I feel like it would probably be a little bit more of a cardiac issue because it is speed. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be taking that. And also, I feel like I can accomplish a lot more at work. I'm at a really busy house. So you have a bit of that panic when you are getting your ass kicked of, you just remember it more because you're like, I have to get this done. The little bit of time I have, and that helps you remember tasks, that pressure.
Yeah. And anybody thinks they got it, look up the signs and symptoms of it and see that you are, that you think you might be, then go see your personal doctor and they'll work with you.
So along that note, how did you get diagnosed? Was it a ink blot test? How does that work? Or does your doctor say, I think you have this because of the way you're explaining things?
So I got diagnosed as a kid, and my parents, and this is
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
God,
I feel like this is something that we've always historically associated with kids.
yes,
Sorry, carry on.
that's correct. But girls historically get missed. And God bless my parents. My mom did not want me medicated at all, so they were amazing. Having 4 kids now, I don't know how she did this, but she made me work through everything. And that taught me really great coping mechanisms of setting up a routine, sticking to it, and all that. God bless her. As I got older and took on more life responsibilities, that's when kind of the frustrated, being really hard on yourself, depression level stuff kicked in because it's like, Jesus fuck, I should be able to. You feel horribly inept when you're looking
Yeah.
around at people getting simple life tasks done, and you're coming home, you're sleep deprived, your brain's not already working, and you feel like a crap human being, right? You just feel the dredges of society. I can't even get a bed made or eat a proper meal. So I can't tell you what it's like now, compared to the 1980s.
The 1900s?
Yeah,
The 1900s.
Well, I was a 70s baby, so I feel the pain.
Yeah, Doug's old as
I
crap.
will say this though. It was really great not taking meds as a kid, because as I get older, I know that these little cycles and ruts that I get stuck in, and where the faux depression kicks in, and we can't even call it a faux depression, right? Because it is a mental downturn.
It's a feeling, yeah.
It's a feeling of failure. I was able to recognize that, having grown up with those spurts my entire life. And I think so many people with this job, with social media, how is the internet changing and rewiring brains?
Yeah.
We don't even know that in comparison with the job. So with everything going on, how many people are getting this very curable, I hate to call it a fake depression, but very curable stimulus societal version of ADHD, and just feeling down in a rut. And because they weren't diagnosed as a kid, they don't realize, hey, this is a completely solvable issue. And it rolls into the rest of their life. It rolls into marriage issues. It rolls into work issues. You know what? I feel like shit. I'm going to drink a beer tonight. That felt really good because I know my husband, who most likely has ADHD, has told me, he said, that's the only way I can get my brain to turn off is if I grab a beer at night. Because I asked him one day, I said, why why do you like drinking a beer every night? He said, that just turns my brain off. It's the only way it goes silent. So
Oh yeah.
I think that's where we start the roll
Yep.
into bad habits.
Yep.
So even if you don't get on medication, because I think if I didn't have the other responsibilities that I have in my life with peer teams and some of the writing and other stuff that I do, I wouldn't necessarily want to be on it
Mhm.
just because it does physically cause some issues cardiac wise and other things, but also because I have a little bit of a system from childhood.
You become dependent on the drug in your older
And
age.
yeah,
And it,
I'm very scared of that.
Yeah.
yeah, my wife,
Of
she
oozing.
deals with depression, and she was telling me she regrets going on like heavier dosage when she was younger, and so now she's at a point where she's like, I have to take
Maxed
this
out.
stuff. Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
take this, and it bogs me out, but I can't go lower because my body's so used to it. And she has weaned back, on the mountain and stuff like that. But you just get used to it in your bodies. I mean, gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm, Doug's age, 68,
Jesus
and
Christ.
am I still going to take it then or not? I don't know.
Well, I will say, mad respect to your parents, Stephanie, because so many parents nowadays are just they'll either shove a tablet in a kid's face or they'll get medicated at a young age because they don't want to parent. It's not easy. It's hard sometimes. And
Yeah.
teaching those kids coping skills, no matter what the coping skill is for, is just setting them up for greater success as they get older. Now, I'm not saying in your situation you didn't need medication. Everybody's situation is different. However,
Girls present so much differently than
right, but
boys.
yeah, and people just—it's like you said, it's historically attached to boys because they're hyper and they always want to, they're jumping around and doing crazy shit. Well, you don't really pay attention to the girls, and good on them, man. Just good on them for trying a different way and working through it. So,
Right. As we know, girls don't tell us their feelings. We're just supposed to know.
yeah, yeah. My wife, and my daughter will say yes.
Yeah, I grew up with 4 brothers, and in an Irish-Italian family,
Oh.
we told our feelings. And normally we push the other sibling down the stairs after that.
Yeah.
Definitely told our feelings. No, I think the big takeaway from this whole conversation is I think this has to, I mean, I will never say don't joke about something. Continue with the jokes. But I do think we need a closer look at how it commingles with all the other factors that we have going on. Even if you do know you have it, you probably maybe never sat down and thought, hey, I wonder what not sleeping for almost 24 hours freaking does to my dopamine level, which is something that's completely affected
Yeah.
by your ADHD. If you've already got low dopamine, you don't sleep, you maybe had a crappy emotional call. God, where's your levels going to be?
Yeah.
And if we're not teaching people to know that or be aware of that, they're probably feeling like, God, I'm being such a loser today, suck it up, buttercup, or why is everybody around me handling this better than me? Might be another thought. And then they think there's something wrong with them.
It's
Make it
amazing.
part of the conversation.
It's amazing how the brain works. It just, it's one organ, but a thousand different things are all linked together. Depression, anxiety, addiction. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing what can go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just scratching the surface here in this little short 30-minute episode, but it's a good conversation starter. It's a good, again, we always preach about how we're the virtual kitchen table, and I mean, it's a good conversation starter. It's okay to have these conversations at the house and talk to your crew and your coworkers about their kids, about their, hey, if you got a kid dealing with it, how do you manage it? Well, how does it affect your kid? How does it affect you that it affects your kid? And it's great conversation that just gets you that much closer as a crew, and it might be something that you personally need to have addressed in your own personal life. So this was very informative. I liked it. We're at 32 and a half minutes. I think this turned out great for us, a very thrown together. We started late, but it still worked out okay, kind of thing. Stephanie, thank you so much for finally getting on with us and chatting for a little bit. And go ahead and plug anything you've got or any socials you need to get out there, and we'll definitely send me that link and we'll put it in the show notes through the that paper she wrote.
Yeah, you can check that article out at firefighternation.com. Its clinician's name is Beth Flaherty. Poke around, you might find something else, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna sucker her into doing a part 2 to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's needed for sure.
And thank you for finally having me on.
Yeah,
we've been trying for a little
bit. I know, it's crazy. It's the way things work out. We always talk about how it's only 2 of us here today, how hard it is to get all 5 of us on here at one time. I mean, it's so hard.
Can't imagine.
It's so hard with shift work. And again, every time we bring a fireman on, I'm like, you understand. You understand. So thank you for taking some time out of your break day. I know I've got to run do some stuff here in a few minutes, and Brian's already gone off to do stuff, so it never stops. So, but we thank you graciously for it. Don't forget to check out Unkies for all your seasoning stuff. I tell you, if you've been watching the TikTok and seeing them onions that people are making with Parmesan cheese, they put parchment paper down, Parmesan cheese, thinly sliced onions, and put them down, a little olive oil, and then the seasoning, and you bake it until the cheese gets crispy. They're amazing. I did a little sample pack with Unkies last night. I did garlic and herb, buttery rosemary, chipotle, and coastal Cajun. Coastal Cajun was my favorite. So anyway, great stuff. Good seasoning, low sodium, good stuff. Thanks, Tom, again for your burn box stuff. We appreciate everything you do for us, man. Adam, take us out of here.
Roll it, Gigi.
Roll it, Gigi.
Before you leave, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give these firemen a huge thumbs up. Also, make sure you check out thecoolfireman.com for more. Thanks!